Welcome back, guys, or if you're new to my channel, this is Automotive Anonymous, and that's a 2024 Chevy Silverado work truck. It has a big 5.3-liter V8, four-wheel drive, and it even has the 8.2-foot long bed, making this an actual truck. If you guys like what you get to see and experience today, please consider liking this video. That lets me know you want to see more stuff like this, but also helps you by having YouTube show you more stuff like this. Thank you. I mean, specifically, it is a work truck, so it is the lowest trim level of the Chevy Silverado, but it's actually a dying breed. And in fact, I see very few of these. They're very rare on the road, kind of like a Corvette. And you might be wondering why it's just a basic Chevy work truck. Well, honestly, guys, only Chevy and Ford make a regular cab truck anymore. Titan, Tundra, even the Dodge Ram, none of those offer a two-door truck. What about the mid-size trucks? Honestly, most of them are only sold as four doors anymore. So you can only get a regular cab Silverado or a regular cab F-150. And huge thanks to Twin Falls Chevy for letting me borrow one of their rare regular cab Silverados. What you might think, how is this a rare truck? Well, I don't see very many of them on the road. I see a lot of trucks like this, big lifted short bed 4x4s. Not very many of this basic configuration. Sure, this might not be the most appealing configuration, but isn't it about the most practical, the most useful? And if you're going to have a truck, if you're going to want an 8-foot bed, this is your option basically. This has 89 cubic feet of room. Each of those tie downs is rated for 500 pounds. This even has a payload capacity of over 1,900 pounds. So you can hold almost 2,000 pounds worth of stuff in this Chevy truck. Nothing against the ZR2 Bison, but whenever I've done more official reviews of those, their payload capacity is about 1,050. So this is actually a truck meant for work. You can tow with it. You have a 31-inch tire. You have leaf springs, a box frame, gas tank right there, and then a 10-speed transmission with a big V8 up front. So overall, this might not seem like much, but it's a dying breed and they're hard to come by. In fact, even a lot of the Rams, you can only get that with a variation of a small four-door or a big four-door with a 5'7" or 6'4" bed. So you can't even get a full-size truck with a full-size bed under most configurations. So although this isn't my favorite configuration of a truck, personally, if I was going to buy one, it's not going to be for work, which is the purpose of this. So I would buy one with the mid-size bed, about 1.5 feet shorter. Ideally, though, I wish Chevy was doing what Ford was doing, where they have the short bed, basically a 5.5-foot bed, make it more of a race truck. But I'm more performance focused rather than towing and hauling and stuff like that. So there's a lot of people who are going to love these. In fact, about maybe 4 or 5 months ago, I reviewed a Turbo Max, which is the turbo 4-cylinder version of this at Twin Falls Chevy. And one of you guys even traveled from Washington to buy that because these aren't very common. They're pretty rare, which again seems so surprising to say. I feel like I'm lying to you guys, but in fact I'm not. And Twin Falls Chevy actually has a number of these on their lot, but they also bring in stuff up to the ZR2 Bison HD trucks. So you can find basically anything you want there, which I'll link below. I don't work for them. I'm just impressed that they have such a selection. But I want to show you guys a little bit of the interior. Then we'll take it for a drive. We're going to do a 0 to 60, and then we'll try to keep this whole video in under 10 minutes if possible. Door panel, it's all black. It's all functional. It's going to clean well and do a really good job. Bottle holders, snack pocket, basic speaker. The speakers in here sound like what you would expect them to. They're not fantastic, but when you're paying $46,000 MSRP for this one, or the way it's currently configured, it's only $40,000. That's probably, there might be a little bit more room on the table from a dealership, but I don't know. I think dealers are having a hard time right now because MSRPs are so expensive. So they're giving you discounts where you can, but for, almost leather seats, that's actually the vinyl. You can basically rinse it out with a hose. This is honestly a pretty nice truck. You have a lot of room behind the seats to store stuff. You even have a third seat right here and even has remote keyless start, a few of the options for adaptive cruise control, and it'll tell you if it's trying to keep you in your lane. So it's not the fanciest of safety features, but when you're sitting in here, you actually have visibility. So this is a truck that you don't need blind spot monitoring like you do on a huge configuration. And you have some nice storage upper and lower down here. So even a work truck like this honestly has quite a few amenities, quite a few features. There aren't the plugins you'd get on some higher trim levels. You are going to notice some blank buttons, but overall, it's honestly not that bad. So let's hop inside and take it for a drive. And from behind the wheel of it, initial impressions are honestly, it actually feels really good for not having leather and fancy features and materials. It honestly feels so durable. Like this thing is going to hold up forever. It's going to do what you need it to do. And honestly, these seats, they're actually really comfortable, and they have just enough bolstering that they're gonna keep a lot of body types held in place. You even still have the upper glove box and the lower glove box, so there is a lot of storage that you can have, ventilation throughout, more storage up top. Basic rear view mirror, probably incandescent lights. Nope, they're actually LED. I just wasn't leaving them on long enough to show you. Basic mirror though, there's nothing to plug in there. Bluetooth speaker. The horn, it's actually pretty good. There are a few missing buttons, but thankfully you have still a nice plastic polymer Chevy wheel with the 6 o'clock handle. So honestly guys, let's take it on the road. Let's see what it can do. Right now I have it in traction control off and it is in 2-wheel drive. So you know what guys, we're probably already halfway through this video. So if you have made it this far, you deserve to watch the 0 to 60. So let's cut to that scene right here. 0 to 60 in the Silverado. Keep in mind, density altitude puts us at a mile above sea level, so this truck is down on power over 15%. Traction's off, sport mode is on, 4 auto high to keep traction. Let's do a brake rev and see what it can do. First gear definitely hit pretty hard, but the shifts are actually a little bit slower than I was anticipating. Still, true 0 to 60 came in at 7.17, or the high 6s if you discredit rollout. Not bad, given the fact that we're, again, a mile above sea level. So a low 7-second 0 to 60 unloaded. True time in those conditions, really not bad. But what is this like to drive? Coming to a stop? The brakes do a pretty good job. This truck, again, is not super heavy. It's probably about 4,000 pounds the way it sits, and it has a 10-speed transmission. Looking down on an old car like that, though, it does feel pretty big. Honestly, for even only having about 9 inches of ground clearance, it feels about as tall as any other Silverado I've driven, maybe minus the ZR2 configurations. But it feels nice. You have the 8-pillar handle for you and the passenger. No handle up on the, on the roof line, though. Mirrors are fantastic. Visibility is really good. You have the Maroni sticker. Again, this one's over $6,000 below MSRP. So the dealerships, they're doing what they can. I know not all of them are going to give you discounts, but this one is. And overall, it's a pretty nice driving experience. Going about 40 miles an hour, look at how low it's revving. The 10-speed does a good job, but it's not the fastest at shifting. And honestly, I was kind of surprised after driving a lot of other 10-speed cars and performance cars like the Mustang and the Camaro. It just doesn't shift quite like those. But it's probably tuned differently because this is a big, heavy truck, and this loaded down could weigh 2-3 times as much as a performance car. So I'm sure they don't want the most aggressive shifting. But if you have to change directions, I usually do this test about 25 miles an hour and expect a lot of body roll. Yep, that's a lot of body roll, but it's a truck. What do you expect? It's body on frame. You have the smaller display, and it doesn't look like you can have the rear view camera running while driving like you can on the fancier ones. Let's maybe take this corner at about 30 miles an hour or slow down as needed. Now powering out. This engine does not sound as muscular as it definitely could with a different catback system. But it's mild, it's tame, and for a lot of people, it's not gonna sound any more intrusive into the cabin than the Turbo Max engine, which on those trucks, you can actually really hear the turbo, but here's a little bit of a bump. Actually, that wasn't too bad. That absorbs it much better in the Chevy truck suspension than in a sports car, because I've taken a number of Corvettes over that bump, and it's painful, let me tell you. But overall, guys, I recommend you drive one of these if you're in the market for it, but definitely test drive the Ford with the 5-liter Coyote engine too, because that's another good option. It's just astonishing to me that nobody makes a freaking work truck anymore. If you want a truck, expect giant 4 doors, expect a bathtub-sized bed, and expect a very high price tag. So, I know that's not what you guys probably were expecting to see with this video. This is kind of just a quick impromptu review, and those are my thoughts driving this. It's not the same. It's not what you'd expect a work truck to be. How are work trucks all of a sudden rare? Back even 10 years ago, I feel like these were becoming less desirable as the bigger, fancier, bigger engine, more powerful trucks are coming out, and now these are almost non-existent. The truck that started it all is now basically just a relic, a memory, You can get a little bit of wheel spin on a corner, but I really hope that American automakers and even the Japanese start to bring back full-size trucks that are actually meant to do work, because no one wants a $70,000 truck without a bed liner and heated, cooled, massaging seats to take on their farm. And if you guys look outside the window, yeah, there's a lot of farmland around here. So I know a lot of people don't live in this type of area, but a lot of people do. And we need trucks like this. Anyways, guys, if you're in the market for one, Twin Falls Chevy will ship anywhere in the country. You can also travel if you want a road trip, because saving $6,000 or $7,000 on a truck compared to what your local dealership offers may just be worth it to you, but it's totally up to you. I just recommend you test drive everything and test drive other brands as well to make the right vehicle buying decision for you. And with that said, if anyone's still watching, thanks for watching this video. It was fun to do. I really like regular cab trucks myself, and I hope to see you again soon. Until next time, see ya.